The Mayor's Office is making a number of things available to try and support community-led housing. Different groups are trying to follow a number of different avenues and at different points. I think what we want to do is to have input from the different people at different stages to provide a bit of a road plan. If starting now, not starting 5 years ago when everything was a little bit different, but starting now, what does a group need to do in order to get a project off the ground, gain the support of the local council, raise finance, and actually have a project which can be taken through to completion. Does that sound? I mean, I know it's a big aim, but does that sound like a reasonable thing for the next 45 minutes? Let's just go around. The people that are involved and just say who you are and the size of the project.
I'm Carl. I work for an organisation called Greenwich Co-operative Homes and Birmingham Co-operative Housing Services. We support 13 housing co-ops in the West Midlands. In the last 3 years, we've built over 300 cooperative homes for 3 different housing cooperatives. And developed something that works for us, which is around timber frame housing, where we first of all were building traditionally and weren't getting a very good product building traditionally, then went to Norway and imported some Norwegian houses, and then opened our own factory because we realised we'd got the same skills in Britain.
Carl's Group is one of the partners that we're sort of keen to work with. In many ways, if you know the Coin Street structure, it started off with in many ways it's a similar structure, except Coin Street stopped developing because they were limited on the land and they're a slightly different organisation now, whereas Carl's has continued to evolve and develop.
Yeah, perfect.
Your group is?
London Community Neighbourhood Cooperative. It's we're very ambitious because we're based in North Westminster and we want to take back. We're hoping to build a sustainable neighbourhood. We've had money from locality to do pre-feasibility studies. So we've got architects, we've identified 4 sites. So we're just making a new website, which is taking forever. So. But we're also hoping to Wetch, Waterton and Elgin. Is in our patch. And we're hoping to partner with them to go for one of the small sites that the GLA are bringing forward.
Question about Wetch. Do you want to say a bit more? Is there somebody here?
Oh, Wetch is Waterton and Elgin Community Housing. They're tenant managed. Sorry. Well, maybe you want to say about them.
It's a community-owned housing association. They house 900 people. The average rent is £80 a week. They got their 3 asbestos-riddled tower blocks pulled down, and they have the most beautiful flats that make me cry with envy and longing, all around North Westminster, around the back of Harrow Road. And they, as you say, they're just building a whole load more. Again, average rent £80 a week. They had a 97% satisfaction response in their last tenant survey, and I passionately want to move into one of their flats, but they have a 0.03% turnover because no one ever moves out. Anyway, my name's Lizzie. I live in North Kensington. After Grenfell, we decided to try and take back some of our control over our housing in North Kent. I live in a housing association flat. So I've been paid for the last few weeks by our local social council, which is the umbrella body for the voluntary sector, to pull together tenants from right across Kensington and Chelsea. We've got tons of really good sort of anti-establishment campaigns going on in the borough, but very little, until recently, we've had very little hope of actually practically doing an alternative as opposed to just objecting. Anyway, so what we've done is interacted a lot with the GLA, with Tom Copley and Sean Berry, and with our local authority, and with a development trust called Westway Development Trust in North Kensington. We've located a site, and we are trying to now move forward into developing this site into both a sustainable and social rent mixed in with affordable market bought properties to help fund it. And been really surprised at how positive and supportive the GLA and the CLT network and everybody else have been about this being realistic, because we all thought it was a pipe dream. We've also are trying to look at the gasworks site, which is a huge site along the canal, so you might be interested because it goes across Brent, Kensington and Westminster, to see if we can get a solid lump of it as community run and owned. But we want to do the Welsh model because they own it rather than just manage it, and therefore they employ all the staff themselves, and therefore it's all kept completely relevant to the people that live in it. It's fantastic. I love it. Sorry.
The residents set up West Kent Gibbs Green Community Homes, set up by the two residents' associations for West Kensington and Gibbs Green Estate. We are pursuing the right to transfer, which is a right all council tenants have to say we want a different landlord, and that is our request. What we're proposing is to be the landlord ourselves. So we want to be a community-led housing association in the manner of Welsh. That request was sent to the council over 2 years ago and referred on to the Secretary of State, and it's been sat on the Secretary of State's desk for 2 years. I mean, communities and local government have got a lot on their plate, but we are kind of sort of eagerly anticipating what will happen, what will come of that. In the meantime, we've been working on the People's Plan, which is we worked with architects and over 100 residents from the estates to come up with proposals to build 250 extra homes in addition to the 760 homes that are here already. So it's just demonstrating that you don't have to demolish the estates to increase housing capacity on the site. And at the same time, if we were to sell 180 of those, we could raise money to make improvements to the estates, which people want to see, and also the remaining 70 could be helped to subsidise for social rent. So that's what we came up with a year ago now, and we've been consulting on it. So we've gone door to door, we've had written feedback from 65% of households on both estates. 90% say they prefer that to demolition. So that's a vast majority. Vast majority of households say they're preferring our proposals to demolition. Part of what we're doing is making sure the residents have a say over the future of their homes. And there are plenty of examples of estates across London that have fought off demolition once, and then 5 years down the line, they're having to fight it off again. If you take ownership of the homes, you're still not completely, there's still compulsory purchase, there's still all this. But if you take ownership, you're much more in control, and it's much less likely that you're going to have to fight the same fight twice.
There is the GLA database of land. You may find that your local council knows other bits of land, or you may find other bits of land which you can look at and go, what about that over there?
So I would really recommend people walk their area and just have a look and see garages or whatever, and do their own research into land.
I think any development has three elements to it really. One is land, one is people, and one is money. And in my experience, developing community-led housing, the people bit is always easy to get. You can always get a cooperative together, or a group of people which will form a cooperative. Anywhere that I've worked, I found that the ones that are the difficult elements of it is then getting those people matched with some land and some money, and there can be a myriad of different solutions according to the need. But one of the things that we need to learn how to do is how to create a circular economy around cooperative development, so that once we develop cooperative housing, build cooperative housing in wherever, it goes on to assist the development of cooperative housing somewhere else, and that's something that we haven't been very good at and haven't been very clever at.
The fact is that they've got a number of different models of how they develop, which, to put it very briefly, is that you can get a plot of land and build a new standalone housing co-op. Or you can get a plot of land that's near an existing co-op and sort of extend it a bit and either lease it to them or sell it to them. Or you can find you've got lots of odd little scraps of land you're offered and you build on each of them and you get a sort of pepper pot system which might then be managed separately, or you would find you'd find a local way of actually resolving that. But those, and within that you try and have a system which feeds a surplus back into future development, because that's got to be the holy grail of this, to make it sustainable. So follow some of the European models where people invest their money, where it acts like a building society as well, and so you invest the money in the co-op and the co-op goes and builds some houses and they make it and it all feeds around. That's where we want to be in 10 years' time.